Welcome to the Business Savages Show. We bring you real entrepreneurs and business leaders that have the grit to dominate. Featuring your host, Sarah Dixon.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Business Savages Show. I am on with Victor from Dynasty Building Solutions. Hello, Victor.
Hello, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing awesome.
Good. Okay, so we're just going to jump right into it. So if you could travel to one place on the planet, where would it be and why?
I would travel to Alaska only because it's absolutely beautiful out there and it's like a no man's land, and mainly for a lot of the fishing out there and the sights. I would probably go at any day of the year, whether it was midwinter or middle of the spring, just to see the lifestyle out there.
Mm-hmm.
Be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Alaska's a good one and good fish.
Yep.
Okay, so I want to talk about Dynasty Building Solutions and how you got started and all of the things.
Yeah, so I got started, really young, and about 16, 17 years old, just working as an apprentice, around my uncles or for different construction companies. And I found out at a very young age that I actually worked better with my mouth and my verbal skill set than I did with my hands. So I started working in sales and started selling everything from windows, roofing, siding, and just traveled around into different categories, different companies, just trying to find who I was at a young age. And back in 2010, I got started with a roofing company that was from Nevada, and all they did was roofing, and they focused on insurance claim or insurance restoration for homeowners, commercial property owners. And I got involved in that, and I just went off to the moon with it, like just skyrocketed out. I wound up running the company in 4 different other locations within a year's amount of time. I built an infrastructure that was unheard of, and implemented it, and built the company from doing $2.4 million to $6 million in a year's amount of time.
Wow.
So, and then I got started in my own company at 2014. And, I was working for different roofers at the time, and came over to Florida, and just got tired of watching other companies do wrong, to their employees, to their homeowners, to their clients, and basically said, I didn't want to keep having somebody have the power to keep promising me and wait and dangling that carrot for my hard and sweat equity I put in.
Yeah.
And said, listen, I could be rewarded just as much, if not better. Not only me, but the people around me that I've made successful. And I could do this on a better means and better terms on my own. So I started Dynasty Building Solutions in 2014 of October. We actually started off as Dynasty Roofing Solutions. And in Florida, we have some harsh licensing laws. And you either have to have a roofer's license or a builder's license. And I wanted to be that one-stop shop. So I decided that I wanted to get into everything with restoration and building. And I had a lot of skill set on my knowledge from being a tradesman in the field, selling the products, and felt that I could run a successful construction company. So the only problem was I wasn't licensed. So I had a qualifier that was my employee for the roofing section of my business. And I hit the books and put the nose to the grindstone and got into school, and then went ahead and took the contracting test here in Florida, one of the hardest tests I ever took, and got licensed as a certified building contractor.
Nice. Yep. That's awesome. That's awesome. So you guys have been in business for 6 years now.
Correct. Yep.
Awesome. And how, from then to now, how does that, how does that look for you?
Blessed. It's not about me. What I learn a lot and almost every day is the minute that I think I'm the one that did this, or the minute that I think I'm the one in control, I find out that it's not me at all.
Yeah.
It's one, the team Dynasty, all the employees that I have around me, the managers, and what God has built. If I was to say I did this, you're looking at the wrong person. Because where I came from, high school dropout, drug addicted, living a criminal life, and changed my life around in 2013. And a year later, started a business, and almost a decade later, haven't looked back and found a value in God and
Yeah.
higher power, who I choose to direct my life and who I am today. That's what did it. Just
Yeah.
pure dedication and pure faith, not me.
Yeah. Yeah. And, when you and I talked last, we got really into your story and, everything that you've been through before to now. And it was super inspiring,
Thank you.
and that's awesome, going from that to where you are. It's incredible to see.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. And it was definitely a 360. It was definitely a life-changing event. It was the best thing to happen to me.
Yeah.
I talk about it on my website, so I'm not scared to talk about it now.
Yeah.
I have a federal conviction. The good news is it was considered a blue-collar crime. Nobody was hurt. There were victims, but it was actually a very high-profile case, and that's why I went federal. And we were picked up by the feds for conspiracy of stealing high value diamonds across the nation, in a sophisticated means. We didn't run in there guns blazing and hold people up. They were very sophisticated, homework done, and snatch and grabs. And it was a sales game. It was a manipulation, is what it was. It was being a con artist. And
Mm-hmm.
I was living a very, very different life than I'm living today. And because of that, that was the worst thing. But the best thing that came out of it was that I found out who I really was.
Mm-hmm.
The whole time throughout my life, I was always searching to, be somebody. Whether it was, in my perception, a successful drug dealing, party goer, money maker, and the fast life. That was successful to me, right?
Yeah.
And it was all just material things, because I had, nice cars, I had, a place to live, I wasn't a bad person. And then, I found out that, I was living a lie, and I was a bad person. But by the grace of God, I had a second chance in life. And,
Yeah.
For all of us, we all believe in second chances,
Yeah.
And I don't take that lightly. I take that second chance as it's my absolute last chance, because I know where I
Yeah.
came from. I don't
Yeah.
ever want to go back there. So, God showed up. I showed up. God was there the whole time. And I came into the belief of knowing who he was. Didn't have any God in my life before then. And that's really where I found out who I was. And I wasn't what I thought I was.
Yeah.
And I found out that I was actually a person of good morals, and a person that could practice integrity, a person that could have good relationships in my life,
Yeah.
a spiritual person. And, I was always very open-minded, but I was closed-minded to the false perception of who I was. So when I became into knowing who God was, I kind of got enlightened to my
Mm-hmm.
true being. And because of that, that's actually right into where my core values for this company lies into. I
Yeah.
just rattled them all off, 5 of them. And that's it. That's the core values. And that's
Yeah.
where I'm.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. And like I said, inspiring,
Thank you.
truly inspiring. So
Thank you.
what services does Dynasty Building Solutions offer?
Oh, well, we have a lot. We specialize in roofing. That is our main bread and butter. We help homeowners and commercial owners, clients of, big commercial buildings with damage loss claims. Living in Florida, we have a lot of different storms out here. We have hurricane season. We actually have hailstorms. We have very aggressive thunderstorms that create wind damage.
Yeah.
And a lot of the properties that get damaged are, we're able to help with their insurance company actually paying for those damages. So, a lot of people don't know that it doesn't take a catastrophic event to blow off the whole roof to have the insurance company pay for a brand new roof. A lot of homeowners think that, they have insurance on their home, but they've had this insurance on their home for 15, 20 years, and they didn't realize that, a couple of shingles blown off of their actual property or a hail damage granule loss is a insurance, could be an insurance proof claim. We don't promise that, we can't, because we're not the insurance company, but we are the contractors and we are the experts on those levels to say how those materials got damaged and what can be done for it to be replaced. So that's one of the services. That's the main bread and butter of the company. 80% of the company, of our revenue, comes from insurance restoration. Now, there's all different types of restoration that you can do. There's, of course, what we specialize in, roofing. Living in Florida, that's one of the easiest and best money makers. Second would be the actual restoration of the interior that's damaged by these storms. We do get catastrophic storms that, blow down, houses, walls, tornadoes, hurricanes. We have that for bread and butter as well. And then there's also water mitigation. Being a roofer, when you do have these, lower wind events that just, do damage to the roof and it's not catastrophic, people still get damage in their homes from the water coming in. And what they don't realize is, in Florida, humidity is through the roof, literally, no fun intended. And when that happens, you have the right environment, you get mold. So we also do water mitigation with drying out properties that are damaged, commercial and residential. And then we do our custom build outs on the side. With my certified building license, I flip houses. That's just for fun. It's something my wife enjoys doing. She likes being the remodeler, and I like, actually holding the hammer. Keeps my skill set up, because what I do is I run a company, and if you ask my 150 employees, they all think I sit in the AC behind a computer, and they don't realize that I could swing the hammer just as good as any of them. So it's like I get out there and prove to myself and them that, hey, I still got this. Keep my skill set, to a sharp point.
Yeah.
So I do that, and the company itself also, for our services, we do commercial, retail. Retail is our, cash exchange. We offer financing for roofing, and we do remodels. We just got done with a couple of nice kitchen remodels. Fully did the kitchen, the plumbing, sink, island, everything, cabinetry. And we do a lot of custom work. And we do the whole build out, and it's good for homeowners because they don't have to be the GC. They come to us and we can handle everything from, the actual build out to the roofing, to the flooring, to the remodeling, to the electricity. And that gives a lot of people a lot of confidence. And, a lot of my homeowners are repeat homeowners, because the biggest question is they know we do roofing, but they always are so amazed by the roof, and they always turn around and say, hey, Dynasty, can you guys remodel my bathroom? And we're like, yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Like, can you remodel my kitchen? Can you take care of my honey to-do list?
Yes.
And I'm always the guy to go to for the honey to-do list, man. I'll tell you.
Can I cook you dinner?
Yeah. Oh, we get that all the time. I get homeowners that cook us dinner, drop us off meals.
Oh my gosh.
Come to our company parties, order our own company shirts and hats.
That's awesome.
They're not even employees. They're like homeowners just repping the Dynasty. And that's always cool. But you get your good with your bad. We also have some unhappy customers, and that's part of running business. You can't please everybody. But we stick to practicing our core values, and as long as my team and my clients understand that, and we always put that forefront of the core values, we always in our mind, if we didn't satisfy somebody to their fullest potential, all core values were practiced, at the end of the day, they at least got the job done. It was done right, and we'll still be there to fix it. They might still be unhappy, but that's just the person. Has nothing to do with us. But that comes with running a business.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, we can just tell like all customers, if you need anything done, just call you.
Right.
If you lost your roof, call Dynasty. If you want dinner cooked, call Dynasty. No.
Yep.
You need a new bathroom, call Dynasty.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Hey, if your kids need a sponsor for the baseball team for their little league, call Dynasty. I mean,
exactly.
we've done it. We sponsor little leagues. We give back to the community, and that's part of our core values as well.
Yes, and speaking on that, we had talked about that before. That you had said that you give back to your communities. So what have you done?
Every year, personally, I believe in tithing. And doesn't mean I make everybody in my company tithe, but what I believe, and this is my opinion. I could tithe with money, which I do personally, which is a tenth, because it's all God's anyway. I'm just the steward that gets to enjoy the other 90%, but it's all his. So I also believe in tithing with service, whichever shape, form that might be, with providing my services either at a very discounted price or for absolutely free, depending on what God's will is for that time of the season and for that person. Since day one, we actually had some homeowners, and the news caught wind of this in 2014. 2015, it actually came to fruition. But we had a contractor that was a scallywag, in a better way to say it. And they went around and they ripped off a bunch of homeowners on their proceeds. They took in all this money and didn't actually do the work.
Right.
So you had a lot of homeowners that, were, number one, hurting because of it. And some of them didn't have the financial abilities to, pay for it again. And, a lot of states offer recovery programs, but it never restores what the true damages were. And that could take years. And, when you're talking about roofs, you wait, sometimes a couple of days on a leaking roof, and that could turn into your whole house getting flooded, especially in Florida, amount of rain. So long story short, one of the kind of charity works we did was we came across an elderly couple that were immigrants, and they were taken advantage of, and they had a really, really bad leaking roof. They had no income. They were on fixed income, basically. And they were had health conditions that were deteriorating because of the work that was not completed or getting done.
Right.
And we stepped in and did their work completely free, brand new roof, redecked the entire house with new plywood, did some extra work around the house for them, that they originally weren't getting in contract for.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the start of the company, picking certain projects, or, not the company, but God's will on what he would bring to us. And then recently, each year we would find these I call them under the carpet, because to me, a true giving is not done in light. It's not done for the flaunt of look at me, look at me, look at me.
Right.
It's done for the reason of just wanting to give back. So we had our years of going through different projects where we just did it for free, or, helped out an elderly couple for whatever reason. And then we got in touch with Rebuild Together, which is it's actually a national company.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yep. And what they do is they also take low income families that have no money to pay for, a new roof or construction that's absolutely needed to their home. And they do the work for free. And we joined partnership with them, and are still in partnership with them. And we do a lot of projects for them. Now the work that they give to us, we just do it at cost, meaning that we don't profit off of it. Nobody makes a commission off of it. It's at our hard costs. So the company doesn't lose money. It's exactly what it costs us to do the work. So this way it allows them to be able to do the work for free off their government grants. And we at least don't lose hundreds and thousands of dollars, throughout the year of taking on all these projects, because we are in business to make a profit. So can't give it all away unless God, then it'd be a different story, but that's his plan. Hasn't told me yet. Yeah. And then most recently, one of the biggest give backs that we did was with the LLS, the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. And it was a campaign that we actually signed up for. And I signed up to become a signature sponsor. And they wound up asking me the second year to be a campaigner, to where I would bring in money as a campaign raise. And, I was up with doctors, lawyers, and I'm just a, good old, contractor. I didn't realize I was going to bring in as much money as we did. But we were able to raise as a team. I had 10 people from, my company that, were on my team, and they marketed, they did car washes. We all, joined forces on our days off and late nights. And we were able to raise $44,000 as a team in a 10-week run. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. And all the other campaigners together, we all raised $300 and something odd thousand.
Holy moly.
In a 10-week run. And just to let you know, the woman of the year, she won, and she brought in $120,000, and she was a doctor of the Moffitt Cancer Society. So, this was the campaigners that I was running with. But for man of the year, I had no idea. I actually took man of the year. I'm sitting in a big ballroom on the day of the show, and there's maybe 300 people, big executives, and they called me up on the stage as the man of the year. I'm like, I gotta give a speech. They're like, speech. I didn't know what to say. My mouth was dry. I'm stuttering. So what we do is we campaign, and we use two children that are struggling with leukemia or a blood disease. And there was this little guy there, Nathan, and he had Down syndrome. He's still alive. He's actually in remission, so praise the Lord. But we were campaigning for him. He was the face of the campaign, and he was on stage, thank God, because as I'm walking up stage, I had nothing to say. I'm just like, I grabbed him, I put him in my arms, and I'm like, go Nathan! And everybody's standing up clapping. It was the best speech ever given. And I'm like, yeah, woo! But again, that was all God willing, and, not done by me, my team. And, we were very excited about it. It was an awesome cause. It was great to give back, and it was great to see the families and know that nonprofit, they work so hard. And what they give to the families that are struggling for it, it's amazing. And it's really, really inspiring. And, I don't know anybody directly that had a blood cancer. It was just the reason of giving back, the reason motivates me. So, so we did that. And then back in 2018, so 2019, we became a part of the American Diabetes Association, and we were a signature sponsor with them, and that was a cool, fun year with them. That was just sponsorship, and you do like a 10-mile walk, and it was all done through the COVID, so it was all video conference, but it was cool. And then this year I'm actually on the committee I'm a non-participating committee member because I can't make my meetings, but I am on the committee. And I am a signature sponsor. So I am still giving back in that means of that shape and form. And
Yeah.
this is just what we do. And then we still do our odd give backs, when God presents them in any
Yeah.
way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
and go ahead.
That I just wanted to say, when we are talking about your company's values, that reminds me of, like, when you give back, that reminds me a lot of your company's values and what you stand for as a company and as a
Yep.
person. It
Hold on one second. Oh, I'm sorry. That just
yeah,
took water
took your
down the
breath
whole wrong pipe.
away.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Oh, all right, I'm back. But yes, you were finishing.
No, I was just saying that, talking about your company's values and giving back, the giving back part reminds me a lot of your company's values and what you stand for, and, personally and in your business.
Yep.
So that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'll read off what really means a lot to the team, because a lot of people, when I developed my core values, I did them from the heart, and reason being is I didn't want to do something cliche. I wanted something meaningful. I wanted something on why I wake up and do what I do, and why my 150 employees over 4 offices follow the same vision.
Right.
So when I designed the core values, I came up with integrity. I came up with spiritual, not secular, open-mindedness, and relationships. And we did like the Webster definition of each one. So, like, for example, relationship. The Webster is the way in which 2 or more concepts, objects, or people are connected, or the state of being connected. DBS's definition is building each other, learning with each other, always looking at your coworkers as team members and your clients as family.
I love that. I love that.
Because that's what's important.
Yeah.
I tell all my guys, whether they're doing production, my admins, no matter who it is, you want to treat your clients and your homeowners, even though you might not be directly connected with them.
Yeah.
You want that relationship with them as your own mother, as you're doing work, on your grandma's house. Because if you don't have that relationship and that mindset, you're not going to practice integrity.
Yeah.
You're not going to practice spiritual versus secular. We say spiritual because we live in a day and age that which is fine in my book. And I love our rights that, we could practice any religion. But spiritual to us would just be something that's not of this world. Like, whoever it is, just something greater and a power higher than yourself. Because how can you practice integrity, which is the definition of having a strong moral principles and moral uprightness? And our DBS definition of that is the act of being honest and carrying your values out, even when no one is watching.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to say integrity, then, I have to have something outside of myself, because if I don't, then how can I practice integrity? How can I build that relationship as I'm working on my grandmother's house? I wouldn't do that at my mom's house. I wouldn't do that at my family's house. So I am not going to allow it on one of my clients' houses, or in the way we do business, in any way, shape, or form. And the industry that I'm in, just like car dealerships or like mechanics, we get a lot of bad marks, but every industry has its bad mark, right? But for some reason, our industry, construction, mechanics, we more or less are like, we're the quick ones to take advantage of, poor Miss Betty Sue, right? That doesn't know any better. So that's why that means so much to this company, because, we have to practice it in any way, shape, or form, when we're doing business. Because if you don't, then you are one of those people that's taking advantage. And then you're just out for the better cause of your own self, for your own profits. Again, we're in business to make a profit, but we can do it legitimately, and we can do it in a very spiritual and a very caring and giving back way to where we're making other people around us so successful, it becomes a almost like a movement to where we're then successful because of that success.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what we measure our success over. I can measure success over bank accounts. I can measure success over the car I drive. I can measure success over, the size of my wife's ring. But if that's what I'm measuring my success off of, I'm not being spiritual.
Right.
What matters is, how your success is with your relationships and your relationships with the people around you, the relationships with the people I do business with. And when my perspective is looked through the glass that way, I seem to have better relationships and a better ran business than if I was to look at the glass the other way.
Yeah. So. And that's exactly why, clients choose you, is because you bring that to every project. Yep.
And we try hard. We try hard. And it's okay to understand that we fail. And it's perfectly okay for us to say and admit it. And when problems happen, we address them and we stand behind our clients. We stand behind our work, and it goes both ways. I've had homeowners that took off with our money, and we did an excellent job. They had no reason to not pay us.
Yeah.
And we're such a business that these homeowners can call us and be like, hey, I have a problem with the work that you did. Meanwhile, they still owe me 10 grand. I'm like, oh, is it really like, our issue? And if it is, I'll go out there and fix it.
Yeah.
And they'll still owe me money.
Yeah.
But that's just part of the lifestyle that we took and that we live and we strive by to adapt it into an enterprise.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so on that, before we close, what advice would you give to someone else just starting out? If you could tell them like 3 things, that they should really focus on with just starting out in their business, what would that be?
Infrastructure, sacrifice, and not your bank account.
Yeah.
Don't focus on your bank account. That I could say confidently, and I'll tell you why. So infrastructure, most people jump into business and they think, oh, I'm going to make, $1 billion in this business. And, that's great. And it's a great goal to have, and set that goal if that's what you truly want your goal to be. And then you have other people that are like in the same industry and they just want to make $250,000. And that's okay to have that type of goal.
Yeah.
But behind that, for whatever goal you have to have the sacrifice to have the infrastructure set up. And that's where it takes time. You can't just go in and for example, in my industry, and bid on a $1 million project on my first day in business. It's just not going to happen. I could do it, right? But it would be me personally out there on a huge project and, just getting in business. It's not going to happen good. And I'm going to run in and I'm going to open myself up for a can of worms that I don't want to get into. I almost said something else, but but a can of worms I don't want to get into, and sacrifice. What I mean by that is, sacrificing your time, your sweat, your fears. Fear is nothing but false evidence appearing real. So, I learned.
Interesting. I've never heard it like that.
Right. I had to sacrifice myself on the time that it would take me to put in to build to the company that now you give me a $5 million project and we're on it and we're going to be profitable, but that sacrifice behind that, a lot of people think or, view companies or owners or entrepreneurs like, oh, you own your own company. Oh, you must have all the time in the world. I'm like, wow. if that's your perception, I'm like, the bigger I get and the more employees I have, the more sacrifice I have to put in because I have more mouths to feed. I have more responsibility. So that means my infrastructure has to be even bigger and better and less better built than anything before. I can't put my pillars down on sand. I have to put them into literally concrete and sink them as far down, my roots as far down as they can go. And that's where the sacrifice comes in the beginning. We're not going to open up a business in the beginning and just think that I'm going to walk in and start making $1 million. I don't even make that now. And I wish I did. But that's not where I want to be. That's not success. If God granted it, so be it. Are we a big company for this market and for Florida? Absolutely. And we're still growing and we're doubling in every size. This year we're going to end the year with $22 million gross receipts.
Mm-hmm.
My net margins are exactly where I set my goal at. And it came with a lot of sacrifice, tons. And then, not watching the bank account, because that's nail biting. It's fearful. Like, you'll be up late some nights. Like, oh my God, how am I going to make payroll? Oh my God, how is this going to happen? And then, it happens every single week. And, that's why I never measured my success by the bank account. I measure the success of the company by how much I'm paying out on payroll, believe it or not. No, I'm serious. That really tells me how many people and how successful I'm making the people around me.
Yeah.
And that's what I measure by, not by the money coming in. Now, do I set goals and I have, percentages that I need to make to keep the doors open, to keep my way of living fed, my family fed? Absolutely. And, one of the best sacrifices I did when I first got started was I took every penny I had and I didn't let fear stop me.
Mm-hmm.
And I sacrificed living a lifestyle that I thought I was going to live when I opened a business. And I sacrificed that because it took every single penny that I had to make sure I can get the ground started, get the ground built, get the company started and built and going somewhere. And for the first year, I didn't even take a paycheck. And I started my business with $30,000. And I was way over on the red of my monthly expenses. So I basically went, I would say, about $60,000 in debt by opening up my business the first year because I couldn't pay myself. And that was the biggest sacrifice. And I'll never forget this. And I was a very humble person, and I still am. But back then I was just as humble as I am today. And I couldn't bring myself to ask for help.
Right.
And my Christmas was coming up, and my children weren't going to have a Christmas. And a week before Christmas, I was talking to my sister, and she lives out of the state. And she said, well, what are you doing for Christmas? I said, oh, the normal, just hanging out with the kids, open up gifts. She's like, well, what'd you get them? And I was like, I didn't get them anything yet. She's like, you have a week. She's like, you planned, you what, how, you have a Christmas tree? Yeah, I got a Christmas tree, but I didn't put any presents under it. She's like, are you procrastinating? And I'm like, no. She's like, well, why don't you have Christmas under the tree yet? I'm like, well, I haven't paid myself any money. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And my sister's a CPA, and she didn't understand that. She's like, well, you have to pay yourself. And I'm like, yeah, but I can't yet because I have other people that need to get paid. She's like, well, why didn't you tell me? Here's my credit card. Go to Walmart. I'll send you the numbers right now. Go shop online. And, that was very humbling part of my life right there, because I didn't want to ask anybody for help. And, that sacrifice right there is probably one of the hardest things I had to go through, was not paying myself and putting down my expectations that, I wasn't going to walk in and just be making, great amount of money today. Today I live comfortably. I still live well below my means.
But you should.
Yeah. I mean, I have to, it's part of my culture that I live in today. I can't go out and, can I afford a Ferrari? Sure. Would I love to drive a Ferrari? Sure. Am I going to go buy one tomorrow?
No.
And that's what it means to me today on still sacrificing, living below my means, because we have bigger plans and, most importantly, God's got bigger plans for the direction he wants to go. And I'm the steward. So I have to follow his plans, and that's where, those three most important values you got to definitely keep at the forefront. And it's scary at first, but I just kept telling myself, I didn't come this far to give up. I didn't come this far to allow fear to get in my way.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Sacrifice. That's all.
I love it.
Yep.
That was a great answer.
Thank you.
Okay, before we close, how can people find Dynasty Building Solutions?
Well, you can find us numerous ways. You can find my guys out in your neighborhood, in Florida, Tampa, Orlando, Sarasota. We travel an hour and a half out from each location. So we have we cover a lot of territory.
Yeah.
But you can go to our website, www.dynastybuildingsolutions.com. And you can find our ads across Google. You can call us. We have a fully staffed call center that all they do is take the inbound phone calls. They don't even call out, just to deal with the fluctuation of phone calls coming in. And you could also find my guys in your neighborhood. They do direct marketing. They offer all their services for free. And they come out to properties. They'll inspect to find out if you even need the product that you might want or think you need. Because if there's no need for it, we'll be the first ones to tell you. As much as we would love to take your money, we'll point you in the right direction and get you more focused on the honey to-do list. Make sure you keep a happy wife, because that means happy life for you guys out there. Get that honey to-do list done.
Oh, I so agree.
We can spend more time golfing and fishing. Call us at 813-321-3269, of course, or you can visit our website. And that's how you get.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, I appreciate it so much for you being on with me today. And thank you, everybody who is watching. And until next time.
Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.